Hey, it's Marissa. Welcome to Shit They Don't Tell You in Real Estate School. Real estate is one of those careers where you have to learn a lot of the information on the job. And for most, that is not the preferred way of learning, especially when we are working with different clients and we want to feel that confidence. It can really suck to not feel like we know what we're talking about. Consider me your big sister. Today we are going to focus on the logistics of houses and listings. There are so many things that they don't teach you in real estate school that I could cover, but we are going to keep it to physical house things today. So let's hop in. You may or may not have this where you're located, but in Wisconsin specifically, we do have contiguous versus non-contiguous space. So in the lower level, that would mean that if it's contiguous, you immediately walk down into a finished area. If it's non-contiguous, that might mean that there's some finished space in the lower level, but maybe the stairs aren't finished and maybe that initial space when you walk down the steps is not finished either. Next is a tandem garage versus a non-tandem garage. So a tandem garage is when one car goes in front of the other or behind the other. They're not sitting side by side. They're actually sitting in front of and behind each other. So you could have a two-car garage, but it could look like a one stall from the outside. So I'll show the difference between a tandem garage here and then also a non-tandem garage. Next, we're gonna chat through some foundation types, and I'm gonna zoom through these pretty quickly, but I'll put examples of each on the screen. So first we have a block foundation. Then we have poured concrete. These are some of the two most common foundations that we'll see in our area. We also will sometimes have stone foundations. And then there is the possibility to have a wood foundation, or we could have a concrete slab, which means that we do not have an actual basement, but that is the foundation that the home is sitting on. We also have various exterior finishes on a home. We could have aluminum and steel. We could have brick, log, stone, stucco, vinyl, and wood or wood shake. Hey, did you know that I now offer my listing presentation and seller guide on Etsy for purchase? This fully customizable listing presentation has 12 pages, including a resume/about me page. There is also a page where it goes into the services you offer and what kind of value you bring to the table. And then we hop into the overall process. There is a staging checklist and all of the information is in there. It's not just the design. Because it's made by me as an active full-time real estate agent, I have tons of value and information packed into the seller guide. At the very end of this listing presentation, I also have seller guidelines, and you can get rid of any pages you want or add in any pages you want, but I love having my seller guidelines because it ensures that the process goes smoothly. It kind of lets them know all of the rules up front so that we don't have any hiccups throughout the transaction. So I've got all of the good stuff, all of my secrets plugged into this listing presentation. Head to the description if you want the link to purchase this listing presentation, and then let me know what you think. Now, another thing that was confusing for me when I first started real estate, I had not owned a home in that time when I first started real estate, so I was completely clueless about any of these things. So when it came time to determine if a home had central AC, I was pretty much at a loss. I did not understand what to look for in order to be able to tell if the home had central AC. Now, if you go walk around the home, you should see an AC condenser. If you see an AC condenser outside of the home, that is probably a dead giveaway that the home has central AC. Of course, there are other heating and cooling systems out there that you should be on the lookout for. If the home has forced air, you will find a traditional furnace in the lower level or in one of the rooms upstairs if the home does not have a basement. Up until about the 1940s, lath and plaster was commonly used as opposed to drywall. So lath and plaster are going to be thin little strips of wood, and those were the laths, and then plaster was inserted in between them. So it's not so commonly seen now, but you will see it in older homes. And then the other option is to have drywall. Now, this is another thing that I can really only speak on for Wisconsin, but if I'm looking for a home in Appleton's property taxes and it's in the county of Outagamie, I will typically look up Outagamie County taxes and it will pull me up into a portal where I can search the address. So that's how I find the tax and assessor data for homes in our area. So I would highly recommend, if you're not sure where to find the tax or assessor data, obviously your office can help you out as well, and sometimes they have resources on the assessor sites that you can go to. But if you are still confused, try searching the county and then tag on assessor data or taxes right after it. Another term that might be confusing to you as a new real estate agent are restrictive covenants. So restrictive covenants, they will be a document attached to a listing, and it will outline what you can and can't do with the property. For example, maybe you can't park an RV in the driveway, maybe you can't have pets, maybe there are restrictions on fences. So make sure that you look those up for your clients and double check and make sure that they don't interfere with any of their non-negotiables. All right, next we are talking about waste. So types of septic. We could have municipal sewer, which is city sewer. And then we have conventional septic system, which is probably the second most common next to city sewer. So the way that it works is the waste is transported into this big waste tank, and then the water, the liquid from there, will get transported out to a drain field, and then it will drain and absorb into the soil. And then all of the sludge that is left over will have to be pumped every 3 years or so. Might need to be pumped sooner actually, but you can have people come out and they will pump that for you, and then you'll be good to go. Another option is a holding tank, where it is sort of the same in the first half. So all of this goes into a holding tank, but then the holding tank needs to be pumped much more often. And all of your gray water, so when you use your dishwasher or your washing machine, will also go into the holding tank as well. So typically those need to be pumped every month or so. A mound system is pretty similar to a conventional septic system, except for the mound gives more soil for the water to go through. So if you don't have enough soil with a conventional system to work, you will have to have a mound system. And if you are just purchasing vacant land, you will usually have a perk test done in order to figure out what type of septic system that your land qualifies for. Another thing are LP tanks. So LP stands for liquid propane, and you can either own or lease the tank. If it is leased, you will typically set up a plan with the gas company, and they will come out and check it every so often and fill up your LP as needed. If you run out of LP, your furnace does not work. So I learned that from experience. So if your furnace goes out and you are a new homeowner, be sure to check your LP tank if you have one, because you might not have any LP in there. If you want to check the levels, you just go to that top little bubble on top of the LP tank, and if you open it up, there should be a gauge and it should tell you how much LP you have in the tank. Okay, now that we have talked septic systems, we are also going to come back and talk bathrooms. So in our MLS specifically, we use Paragon. If it says 1.1 for bathrooms, that means that there's one full bath and one half bath. So 1.2 would mean that we have one full bath and 2 half baths. That's kind of how it's split up. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, what does 1.1 mean? I was like, isn't that supposed to be 1.5? Like, you're so used to seeing 1.5 baths, but that's actually how they determine the number of half baths. So it's just the number of full versus the number of half, and it's separated by a period. And then my last topic of conversation are listing status terms. So if we see active no offer, that means that the home is actively on the real estate market with no accepted offer. If we see active offer no bump, that means that the home is out there still on the open market, but they have accepted an offer and it does not have a bump clause. So typically those transactions will make it all the way to closing. If we, however, see active offer with bump, that means that the offer that they have accepted includes a bump clause. So for example, if I were aiming to purchase a home but I needed to sell my current home first, sometimes I will put a bump clause in there. So where if I don't get my home on the market by the time they have another offer come around, I could have my offer bumped out of the way. So the way that I just kind of like to explain it to my clients is active no offer means that it is available. Active offer with bump also means that it is available, but then active offer no bump means that the home is not available. We can still try and reach out to the agent and see if they want a backup offer, but we will likely not be able to go and see the house. Alright, well, I hope this video was super helpful. I wish I had something like this when I was first starting out. Hopefully this was a nice quick crash course to learn a bunch of different terminology and items in a home so that you can feel more confident at showings and when writing offers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.